What's up, guys? Welcome back to the first recorded daily news show in 24. And it's a pack one. It is a pack one. It's a pack week because we play twice. It's been a while since we played twice a week, but we do play twice. And funny enough, it's Salernitana twice. First on Thursday in the Coppa Italia at home, and then Sunday at 6 o'clock away to Salernitana in the Coppa Italia, in the Serie A, obviously. So that's a lot of match content coming your way this week, and also breaking down next week in a month that is important for us because we play 4 Serie A games, 4 winnable. I think it's Empoli, it's Sassuolo, it's Sanitana, and I'm forgetting a club, but it's 4 winnable games. We need to win because we play Inter the first game of February away from home, which is going to be very big. So that's that. But also, January transfer window has opened, so that's what we're going to discuss in this video. A lot to go through. Yildiz potentially being the new signing. We have SUDAKOV news, NICOLUSSI, Kostic, KEAN, SZCZESNY news. A lot of news to go through. So let's do that. Before we do that, like the video, subscribe, hit that bell notification. And as I've said, this year I'm gonna push a little bit more. The goal for this video is 50 likes. So like the video now. It's easy and it helps the channel out big time. You know, it's a small thing to do, but it has a massive effect on the channel. So let's get straight into the news now. Okay, so as always, in January, you will get the news of player a player that has been injured, you know, or whatever, coming back from injury around this time. Oh, he is a new signing. Ramsey, Kedira, name it, you know. Fagioli will probably be, you know, deemed as a new signing in the summer because we haven't seen Fagioli for a while. But technically, they're not weird new signings, you know. So Tuttosport opens up with the news, and not only Tuttosport, also La Stampa as well, and Gazzetta dello Sport was, excuse me, suggesting the same thing. And the news is saying, excuse me, Allegri is keen on securing an attacking midfielder, which might be challenging due cost. Consequently, at the same time, at the Continassa, they might opt to stay as is, placing a strong belief in Yildiz. A change of formation would be needed. And that's the big if, a change of formation. So if we come out and we switch formation and you play, let's say, 80%, 85% of your remaining games with Yildiz, Vlahovic, and Chiesa in the team, I would kind of side with yes, it is a new signing because you play a different type of. You're gonna play a different brand of football just by default because of you switch it up big time. That's a big change, and that's where it ends for me because I don't see Allegri waking up tomorrow or today and be like, we have a good thing going on here. It's working for now. Let me disturb that and kind of tell the team, forget everything we kind of have done until up to now, and we're gonna do it differently. I just don't see that happening. And even if that happens, I don't think it's gonna be what people think it's gonna be. Like, Yildiz and Chiesa are gonna need to have off the ball work rate that's gonna be through the roof. Like, it needs to be crazy. They need to work. Like, look at Liverpool's Firmino, Mane, Salah side. Like, the work rate was incredible, but they all bought into it and it worked perfectly. Like, the intensity, winning the ball back, it was insane. That's why we need to do that with this team. We don't have the fullbacks for that, nor do I think we have the quality in midfield to do that. So all these things, it's a big stretch. I'm gonna say it's just not gonna happen, you know. And you cannot play a 3-5-2 with Yildiz in the team. That's just absolutely not gonna work. It is not gonna work. So what I think is gonna happen is he's gonna get minutes. That means Chiesa is gonna lose some minutes here and there. And with the transfer window, obviously in the summer, Euros, and the contract extension, it's interesting because up to this point, where is the Chiesa news on his contract extension. Like, we talked about it a few months ago, and I said I need to have real news before January, and it is January, and there's no sign of any updates at all, and it is a worrying thing if you really love Chiesa, because at this moment in time, it's heading towards goodbye in the summer. It really, really, really is. You know, even the news of a 1 year deal, it sounds really off. It sounds like the club is very open to listen to offers. It really does. It really feels like that, you know. However, if you're gonna tell Chiesa now, we're gonna stick like that, you know, like this 3-5-2, which already is not really a Chiesa thing, nor does it help Vlahovic. And you're gonna drop your minutes are gonna drop because Yildiz is playing well enough. How are you going to sit down at the table and be like, Chiesa, here's a new project, you know, or next season we're going to switch it up to a front three? Like, it's a lot of ifs and buts and maybes, and I don't know. It feels very, very off at this moment. It feels weird, but that's what it is. You know, is he a new signing? I don't think he's going to be a new signing, Yildiz, because I don't see Allegri changing it up, mixing it up. So that's that. That's that. However, the news goes on, suggesting that we're gonna sign players because Allegri wants players. That's the more logical thing I think is gonna happen. Maybe it's not SUDAKOV, but I think that's the thing that, like, a new signing is more easy for Allegri to implement than change formation completely. And SUDAKOV is one of that. He is the player requested by Allegri to complete the midfield department. However, Giuntoli has been looking at the financial aspects. A sale is needed before Allegri can get a new player. The sale was Junior. That kind of slowed down a little bit. You know, Tottenham was mentioned big time. Tottenham are signing Dragosin because they need defenders, you know, but they also need midfielders. They need a lot, you know, just in general. I think Son is going to the Asian Cup as well. I think, I forgot the name of the midfielder. Probably Bissouma, but the other one, is it Traore? Is it Traore? No, it's not Traore, I guess. But the other one is going to the World Cup, to the Africa Cup as well. So they need signings just in general, but now more than ever. Junior was a strong link. That's kind of slowed down a little bit. But he is the sale. Who are you gonna sell in this team that's gonna generate funds now in January? Sule, but he's at loan at Frosinone. I don't think that's gonna be easy to make that happen. So he is that one. Maybe Kostic, and I will touch on Kostic in a little bit. But those are the names that are, you know, are gonna be needed to be sold if you want to generate funds, you know. But SUDAKOV is the main guy. When I talked about Phillips and Højbjerg, I said it doesn't really make sense. Like, those are not the players we've been missing. Those are not the players we actually need in this squad. And it feels very weird. Like, it feels like you're signing backup players when you only play once a week. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. SUDAKOV would make sense because he has characteristics none of these midfielders have. Not McKennie, and I've seen people say, "Oh, what about McKennie in this starting in this lineup?" McKennie's work rate is amazing, and he's been excellent. But on the ball, we're missing a lot in this midfield, and McKennie's not going to offer that. And you also need to be realistic. If you want to improve and move forward as a team, you're going to need those actual qualities on the ball. You really do. You really do. So it's working now for this team with McKennie, but long term, I don't think even Allegri is like Allegri came out and said, "I know you're technically not good enough, but you can have an impact if you just put your heart and head into it." That's what he said. He keeps repeating it. He needs to run. Like, at the end of the day, it's all good and well, but if you want to compete consistently, I think even Allegri knows that quality is needed, and SUDAKOV could provide that quality long term. He really could. So let's see how that will go. But, you know, if you're not signing Samardzic, who is available, it's very hard for me to believe you're going to push for SUDAKOV. You know, who's going to cost more, is potentially available, but not as available as Udinese or are making Samardzic out to believe, you know, because they're actually telling the world you can get Samardzic. Shakhtar's not really doing that because they know we can sell in the summer. Maybe after the Euros if Ukraine makes the Euros. So I don't know. It feels very difficult as well. Now, talking about another sale, it is Kostic. And this comes from A-Sport, a Turkish outlet, saying that Galatasaray and Fenerbahce are looking to sign Kostic even as early as January, which is not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. remember last summer, the last couple of days of the transfer window, everybody was like, it's gonna happen. Like Kostic is gonna leave. First game against Udinese, Junior playing, and then coming off the bench, Junior, and we were like, oh my god, it's done. Kostic is cooked, and now here we are. Fast forward, he plays every single week. Kostic is key to Allegri. Allegri says his performances are consistent, but we all have the eye test, and its quality is not there. It's not good enough. However, he's not going to sell Kostic mid-season. He's just absolutely not going to do that. So Galatasaray and Fenerbahce could be looking at it. Why wouldn't they? But the club is not going to let him go. With the club, Allegri, like, there's not going to let Kostic leave in the summer. Like, it's just, I don't think it's going to happen, And Galatasaray are probably ending Ziyech contract, or that's what the news that's out there, or sending him back to Chelsea. I think it is. The loan they want to stop the loan, and maybe that's why the Kostic links are there. It doesn't really fit, position, all those things. I get it, but we're not going to let Kostic go in January. It's just not going to happen. But like I said, he or Junior are the players that could be generating some funds in January. Like, those are the names coming to mind, basically. But let's see how that will go. Hans Nicolussi, and he's a player that I've been saying so many times on this channel that he shouldn't be at the club. Why? Because of the injury, he needs to play week in, week out. And now Di Marcio is saying Salernitana wants to bring Nicolussi back to the club. And that would be a good thing. However, if you look at our squad now, he's the only backup to Locatelli, and it's not a good thing. Funny enough, we play Salernitana on Sunday. Locatelli is suspended. Nicolussi is gonna start. So that's maybe the the cluster F, if you wanna call that. However, if you don't have a backup for Locatelli, you cannot do that. A lot of people are not grasping what I'm saying. I'm not saying I want Nicolussi to be a starter at the club. I've just said, if you want backup for Locatelli and you want to rest Locatelli, Nicolussi can play against his team, especially at home. No issue. And then you have people saying, oh, you want that to be our level? Nicolussi at home against Salernitana? No, I've not said that. I want a lot of changes in this squad. More than people would accept, I think. But this is our situation now. We don't need to waste money on a backup when you have a very cheap one in your team now. If you want to move money in January, do that for a player that's going to improve the starting 11 or is going to add qualities we are absolutely lacking. Do not sign backup. Do not waste money on backups when you have already a backup. That's all I'm saying. Long term, absolutely, I agree. We need better. However, for now, as a backup, I think he's perfectly fine and cheap. We shouldn't be wasting money on backing up Locatelli. That's all I'm saying. But let's see what will happen with Salernitana. I think if we leave, we will sign Philip or Højbjerg. And then the Chesney news. That came out actually on the last day of 23. Very late. That Chesney and Juve are in talks to extend the contract. And Mirko Di Natale came out and he said negotiations for the renewal of Chesney's contract will soon intensify. The parties are considering extending the contract by 1 year. The goalkeeper's desire is to stay with Juve even with a spread out salary arrangement. Now, that, like when that news came out, it exploded. People were saying, oh no, and all those things. Is Chesney worth 7 million? Like, the only goalkeeper I would be paying 7 million euros was Buffon. Like, that's what I think about goalkeepers. That's just my opinion, you know? So no, Chesney shouldn't be on 7 million. I don't know how old Chesney is. I should have looked it up. I'm going to say he's 33, 34, which for me is still very young for a goalkeeper. That's all I'm going to say. I think Chesney has been an excellent player for this club. And at times, he has been the reason we won a bunch of games in very high-pressure moments. Yes, he had his off days. I'm not going to deny that. But over the big picture, like, we lost Buffon. It could have been much, much worse. And when Chesney first came in from Roma, I was like, yeah, that's not really going to do it, is it? He impressed me big time. I like his character. I like this mentality. I like his mindset. and I just like him in big key moments because he's always there to save our asses, you know. And yes, he will have an off day, but that usually happens against terrible sides for some reason. But since he joined, he has done nothing but great things for this club. Do I have an issue? If the contract is 6 million euros or whatever, yes, I have an issue. I really do. I think we're just in a situation that we cannot afford to spend big money on a goalkeeper. And you might say play Perin and let him go and bring another youngster in to back up Perin, because obviously Pinsolio is not that guy. He's just the club mascot. I don't think we're in a situation to do that. You know, I don't think anyone is gonna buy Chesney. So even him leaving on a free potentially isn't that much of an issue, if you're being honest with that. Maybe 1 year deal like we did with Rabiot, because people love that, could be an idea. But I would not be going crazy if we kept Chesney. The wage needs to be good. It cannot be long-term deals. I get that. But I just don't see the club with limited funds spending money on a goalkeeper when we need so many things to be resolved. So many things before we think about goalkeeping. I still think it's very early. So let's see how the news will evolve. Like the wage, what will it be? You know, will it be a lot of money or not? You know, will it be 1 year or 2 years, excuse me? Who knows? But at this moment in time, I don't think Chesney is an issue. The contract, I agree, is 100% an issue. It is, and that goes for any goalkeeper, in my opinion. You know, but just in general for the club, it's too much at this moment in time. But let's see how that will go. More contract news, and this one was crazy, and that's Moise Kean is getting closer to extending his contract from Nicosia. And you guys in the chat tell me why. Because when I saw that news, I cannot tell you why we're extending Moise Kean's contract. And again, bad from me, but he has a contract until, let me check, because I don't want to spread misinformation. I thought he had a contract until, wait, Moise Kean. Oh, come on. I thought he had a contract until, let me look it up, because I thought it was 25, but I'm not. Now I'm actually doubtful, because we're in talks. It is 25. So he still has 2 years left, basically. You know, he has a year and a half left on his contract. Is this a move to keep value on if you want to sell him? Because otherwise, next summer, you're like, oh, final contract year, because it's 24 now. Next season, he will enter his final contract year. That's the only explanation I have. To keep his value up a little bit. Add 2 more years, and then should try to move him on in the summer. But I don't even know how you're going to tell that to his agent and him. You know, oh, we're going to fake a contract, but we're going to ship you out. At that point, he's not going to sign that. Because why would he? Like, it would make no sense for him as well. That's the only explanation I have. Because if you... And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the Chiesa thing is bigger. Maybe we're not keeping Chiesa. But at this moment in time, the way Yildiz is playing, what's going to happen? You know, next summer, there are question marks around Chiesa, Vlahovic, Sule, who potentially could be coming back. Is Milik for sale? It's very strange news. And you can go, I don't know, so many ways with this one. Like I said, is Chiesa gone? And that's why they're trying to keep Kean? Or is Vlahovic gone? Maybe. Is Sule going to be sold? Is Milik the one to leave? Like, so many question marks. And actually, at this moment in time, no answers. Or I do not have any answers. Because it's very confusing news to me surrounding... Like, this news kind of shocked me. It really did. You know, first of all, I never was thinking about, oh, he could be entering his final year. Because I'm not thinking about that, weighing Moise Kean. I think he has abilities, but... it's just not coming off, you know, and it hasn't. You know, at PSG did well, but like a lot of people do well at PSG. Just the league they play and the amount of quality they have compared to the other ones. A lot of players are going to do well, especially up front. But I don't know. It's very confusing, and it's deeper than just keeping Moise Kean at this point, you know. It is, and it has to do with other players in that department. We know Allegri likes him, but, you know, even now, if let's say Kean comes back from injury, And let's say we stick to a 3-5-2. The first sub is gonna be Yildiz. It's not gonna be. It cannot be KEAN or Milik anymore. It just can't. Like, that's crazy. Maybe if you want to pull Vlahovic, but even at that point, you're like, why is Yildiz not coming on? Like, we need to be honest with that. So, I don't know. Like, I don't know. That's what I've said. In January, we need to have a clear plan for the summer as well. And at this moment in time, I think it's very confusing news. Very confusing news. But let's see how that will go. It's fresh news. It actually happened before I started recording this video. I needed to make the graphic, so it's very fresh. Now let's move on to quick updates. Tuttosport is saying a resurgence of interest in Lovric cannot be ruled out. While he had a slow start at Udinese, he has been showing improvement in recent games. Yeah, rule it out. I don't like Lovric. I just don't like Lovric. Like, he's a central midfielder. He's not a player that, you know, is like blowing my mind, or I'm like, oh, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he still has a lot of potential. I think he's 25, but from what I've seen now, he's not a player that I'm looking at and I'm like, okay, he's gonna take this team to a next level. You know, squad wise, I just don't see it. So really quickly, because it was mentioned, so it's a no for me. And then to wrap it up, Miretti. That Monza and especially Palladino are still looking at Miretti on loan in January. Now, if we do switch formation, maybe this deal is completely off, because then you have Yildiz and Miretti. But at this moment in time, if you're going to move on NICOLUSSI as well, potentially, then Miretti is going to stay. If you're not going to bring somebody in, Miretti is going to stay. So Miretti leaving alone depends on so many things, and it's still all a lot of question marks even on that front, and because it just depends on what you're going to do in January. Basically, we haven't seen Miretti in weeks. You know, I think he got subbed on in one game, but you know, and he started Genoa because of injuries and whatever, but we haven't seen him in a long time as well, to be honest. Like, he was a starter, moved away, so I still believe in him a lot. Is a move to Monza mid-season a good thing? Who knows? If he gets a start, maybe, but it's mid-season. You always need to look out for those things. So let's see how that will go. But Miretti depends on what will happen in January. But that's it. That's the packed daily news show. If you haven't liked the video, like it. Let me know in the comments what you make of the news. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification, and we will be back, or I will be back tomorrow.